She was 74, strong, independent, and living alone. Every morning, Margaret walked her dog, made her tea, and felt just a little off. One day, that off feeling turned into silence. Her right hand slipped, the teacup shattered, and her voice disappeared mid-word. Her neighbor found her an hour later, eyes wide open, unable to call for help. The doctors called it a minor stroke. But there was nothing minor about what it stole. Her confidence, her steady walk, her belief that she was safe in her own home. What haunted me most wasn't the stroke itself. It was the moment she whispered, "If only someone had told me what those little signs meant." Nah. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what those signs are, how to recognize them before it's too late, and the simple actions that could save your brain, your independence, and your life. Stay with me, because what I'm about to share could be the difference between recovery and permanent damage. I'm here to expose the hidden stroke myths quietly robbing seniors of their independence. Because what's killing so many people over 60 isn't just stroke, it's misinformation. You've heard them all. Strokes strike without warning. Only high blood pressure causes them. Recovery stops after a few months. Once you've had one, it's all downhill. But the truth is far more empowering. The body warns you, the brain adapts, and healing can continue for years if you know where to look. In this video, we'll reveal how subtle clues like dizziness, numbness, or fatigue are often early alarms, not aging. We'll show you why your brain can rewire itself even in your 80s, and how prevention isn't about fear but about partnership with your own body. Because what steals independence after 60 isn't a single event. It's the belief that nothing can be done. And once you understand the truth, you'll never see those harmless symptoms the same way again. Before we dive in, drop a comment and let me know. Have you or someone you love experienced stroke warning signs? We're reading every single comment. Now, let's get into it. Myth number 1. Strokes strike without warning. This is the one I hear most often. People believe strokes hit like lightning. Sudden, unpredictable, impossible to prepare for. But is that really true? Not at all. Strokes rarely appear without warning. They announce themselves just very quietly. What makes them so dangerous isn't the lack of warning. It's that the warnings are ignored or misunderstood. So the body speaks first, but we're not listening. Exactly. The brain sends signals long before a major blockage happens. Subtle weakness in one hand, slurred speech that fades, or brief vision changes that people dismiss as just fatigue. These are not coincidences. They are mini-strokes, transient ischemic attacks or TIAs, and those are essentially practice runs for a full stroke. They are the brain's dress rehearsals for disaster. According to the American Stroke Association, nearly 1 in 3 people who suffer a full stroke experienced a mini-stroke within the previous 90 days. The problem is most seniors shrug it off. They rest, take an aspirin, and wait for it to pass instead of calling their doctor. I've seen the same. They say it went away, so it can't be serious. And that's the myth. If the symptom fades, the danger's gone. When in truth, that fading is the danger. It means a clot formed and cleared, but the conditions that caused it remain. High inflammation, thick blood, or narrowed vessels are still there. The brain simply gave a warning shot. It's like a small tremor before an earthquake. Ignore it and the big one follows. Exactly. The key is awareness. Studies from Tokyo University show that seniors who respond to early stroke signals within 24 hours have a 70% lower risk of permanent disability. Just one day can change the entire outcome. That's remarkable. And it explains why some patients bounce back fully while others lose mobility for life. The difference often comes down to timing, not luck. Yes, luck is what happens when preparation meets awareness. The myth that strokes come without warning makes people passive. But once seniors know the signs, numbness, drooping, sudden confusion, they take back control. So it's not fate, it's feedback. And the brain doesn't betray you, it's trying to get your attention. And when you listen, you can often stop a stroke before it ever truly begins. Myth number 2. Only high blood pressure causes strokes. Every chart, every brochure, every waiting room poster says the same thing. High blood pressure causes strokes. And while that's true, I've seen plenty of stroke patients with normal readings. How is that possible? because blood pressure is only one piece of a very large puzzle. A stroke isn't always about force, it's about flow. Anything that disrupts the smooth movement of blood through the brain can become the trigger. That's powerful. So it's not just the numbers on a monitor, it's the condition of the blood itself. Exactly. Think of your blood vessels as garden hoses. So even with normal pressure, if the inside of that hose is coated with debris, cholesterol inflammation, or thickened platelets, flow slows. That turbulence can form a clot that blocks a brain artery without the pressure ever spiking. So the real danger may not be pressure at all. It's what's happening inside the walls of the vessels. Yes, in fact, studies from the Journal of Neurology, Neurosurgery, and Psychiatry found that up to 25% of ischemic strokes in seniors occur with normal blood pressure. Many are linked to what we call silent inflammation. Oxidative stress, chronic dehydration, and high blood sugar levels that quietly damage vessel linings. That makes sense. I remember a patient whose stroke came after a long summer hike. He wasn't hypertensive, but he was severely dehydrated. His blood had literally thickened from fluid loss. That's a perfect example. When we're dehydrated, the blood becomes sluggish. It moves slower, clots easier. Add a little stress or cholesterol plaque, and you have a perfect storm. And then there's sugar. Many seniors believe diabetes only affects the heart, but it's really a vascular disease, isn't it? Completely. Elevated glucose corrodes the delicate lining of the arteries. Over time, those microscopic wounds become sites where clots form. That's why we're seeing more normal pressure strokes in people with poorly controlled blood sugar, right? Because control doesn't always mean repair. So blood pressure may be the loudest villain, but it's not the only one. The quiet ones, dehydration, sugar, inflammation, do their damage in silence. Precisely, the goal after 60 isn't just to lower pressure, it's to nourish circulation. Drink, move, breathe, and feed the vessels what they need. Omega-3s, antioxidants, and calm. A calm vessel rarely bursts. That redefines prevention. Instead of chasing numbers, we support balance. Yes, stroke prevention isn't just about restraint, it's about restoration. Because a healthy brain doesn't just need lower pressure, it needs peaceful flow. Myth number 3, recovery stops after 6 months. This one breaks my heart. I've met so many seniors who were told that after 6 months, whatever recovery they've made is all they'll ever get. That their brain simply stops healing. Is that really true? Not at all. That myth has stolen more hope than the stroke itself. The brain does not have an expiration date for healing. It simply changes how it heals. In the first few months, recovery is rapid. But after that, progress shifts from visible to subtle. What I call silent rewiring. Silent rewiring. That's beautiful. So even if we can't always see it, the brain's still reorganizing connections behind the scenes. Exactly. The term is neuroplasticity. It means the brain can reassign tasks, rebuild pathways, and strengthen alternate routes even years later. Studies from Harvard's Department of Neurology show that adults in their 70s and 80s still generate new synapses when they engage in purposeful, repetitive activity, especially movement paired with emotion. So the key isn't just exercise, it's meaning. Yes, the brain learns best when it cares. For example, a patient practicing hand movements while gardening or painting reactivates far more neurons than someone doing mechanical therapy alone. Emotion, purpose, and repetition form the triad of long-term brain repair. That changes everything. I remember a patient, 81, who couldn't button his shirt after his stroke. We built a daily ritual, just folding napkins with his granddaughter while listening to his favorite music. Within 6 weeks, his coordination returned. That is the essence of neuroplasticity. The sound, the touch, the emotion. They light up parallel circuits. The body follows the brain's curiosity, and that spark is timeless. In Japan, we've seen stroke survivors regain mobility 10 years post-event simply because they began training again. The neurons were waiting, not gone. So when doctors say you've plateaued, what they really mean is we've stopped trying. Exactly. Recovery slows, but it never truly stops. The brain is like a garden. Neglected soil still responds to care. The seeds of movement and attention are always ready to grow. That's incredibly hopeful. It means even if you're watching this years after your stroke, it's not too late to start again. Never too late. As long as there's breath, there's signal. And where there's signal, there's potential. Myth number 4, stroke damage is only physical. When people hear the word stroke, they think paralysis, slurred speech, or drooping faces. They imagine the visible damage, but what most don't see are the changes inside. The confusion, the fear, the emotional swings that follow. Yes, and that's what makes this myth so painful. Stroke damage isn't only what you can touch or measure, and it's also what you feel. Many seniors recover movement but still wake each morning with anxiety, irritability, or a deep sadness they can't explain. That's the brain healing in silence, almost like invisible breath. They don't show up on scans, but they're real and heavy. Exactly. The frontal and limbic regions, the parts of the brain that govern mood and decision making, are often disrupted by even mild strokes. Studies from Kyoto University found that nearly 40% of stroke survivors experience emotional dysregulation or post-stroke depression within the first year. But most aren't screened for it, and so a person might think they're just losing motivation when in fact their brain's chemistry has shifted. Yes, and when families don't understand that, they sometimes mistake recovery fatigue for laziness. The truth is, the brain after a stroke is like a circuit board. It can still run, but some wires spark unpredictably. What helps is structure, gentle stimulation, and empathy. I often tell my patients that the emotional brain heals through rhythm, routine, light, and sound. Even listening to familiar music can reawaken dormant circuits. Beautifully said. Music, conversation, even laughter. All of these stimulate neurotransmitters that rebuild emotional balance. A study from the University of Helsinki showed that stroke patients who listened to their favorite music for just 1 hour daily improved memory and mood twice as fast as those who didn't. And that's extraordinary. And it's free. No prescription, no side effects, just reconnection. Yes, healing after a stroke isn't only physical rehabilitation, it's emotional rehabilitation. The mind and body must walk together. When joy returns, strength follows. That explains why I've seen patients regain mobility once their mood lifts. It's like the body moves again when the spirit does. Exactly. Hope is neurochemical. It fuels healing. A calm, encouraged brain rebuilds faster than a fearful one. So for anyone listening who feels emotionally lost after a stroke, this isn't weakness. It's wiring. And it can be repaired. Yes, you're not broken. You're rewiring. And that process is the very definition of recovery. Myth number 5. Strokes are inevitable after 60. This final myth might be the most dangerous one yet. The belief that after 60, strokes are simply inevitable. That once you've crossed that line, prevention is out of your hands. Yes, and nothing could be further from the truth. Age increases risk, yes, but it also increases opportunity. Because seniors are the only group who already know what their body is trying to say. They've lived long enough to recognize its patterns. That awareness is power. I love that. It's not about resisting age, it's about using wisdom to protect the future. Exactly. The science backs it. A 2023 meta-analysis from the Journal of the American Heart Association found that lifestyle-based stroke prevention, things like hydration, light mobility, and balanced sleep, reduces recurrence risk by up to 58%. Even in people over 80, 58%. That's remarkable. And none of that involves extreme diets or complicated routines. No, it's simple consistency. The blood vessels don't ask for perfection. They ask for rhythm. Regular meals, gentle movement, deep breathing, and hydration create stability. When the blood flows smoothly, the risk plummets. That's so refreshing. We've been taught prevention means deprivation. No salt, no fat, no joy. But I tell my patients, good food isn't the enemy, it's the engineer. Beautifully said. Foods rich in potassium, antioxidants, and omega-3s, like salmon, avocado, spinach, don't just lower pressure. They calm the vessel walls themselves. Even a brisk 10-minute walk after meals improves circulation and glucose balance. And sleep, something seniors often overlook. I read a Harvard review showing that less than 6 hours of sleep a night nearly doubles the risk of stroke recurrence. It's not just rest, it's vascular maintenance. Yes, because deep sleep clears inflammation from the brain. That's the body's built-in cleanup system. When it's neglected, blood thickens, vessels stiffen, and risk climbs silently. So prevention after 60 isn't about control, it's about cooperation. Working with the body, not against it. Precisely, stroke risk isn't destiny, it's dialogue. And the sooner you start listening through hydration, motion, and peace, the longer that dialogue continues. That's such an empowering truth. You're never too old to rewrite your health story. Yes, prevention doesn't end with youth. It begins with wisdom. After everything we've covered today, I can't stop thinking about Margaret, the woman I mentioned at the start. When I visited her months after her mini stroke, she wasn't just walking again. She was teaching her granddaughter how to bake. Her hands still trembled a little, but her eyes were bright. She said, "I thought my story was over. Turns out it was just a rewrite." That's the perfect way to describe it. Healing after a stroke or even preventing one isn't about undoing time. It's about rewriting the way time expresses itself through you. The brain, the heart, the blood, they all respond to intention. And that's what makes today's conversation so important. Every myth we've challenged wasn't just medical, it was emotional. Strokes come without warning. High blood pressure is the only cause. Recovery stops after 6 months. Damage is only physical. Prevention is out of your control. Each one of those beliefs steals hope before healing can begin. Yes, and when hope leaves, so does motivation. The very chemistry the brain needs to recover. That's why awareness isn't just education, it's medicine. When you understand what's really happening, your body begins to cooperate again. I often tell my patients that age isn't a diagnosis, it's a library. And every page holds lessons your body has learned to survive. Stroke prevention and recovery just mean reading those pages differently. With curiosity instead of fear. Exactly. I've treated people well into their 90s who rewired their speech, regained balance, even restored handwriting. All because they refused to accept that healing had a deadline. The moment you start believing again, the brain begins to listen. That's the message I hope every listener carries from this video. And whether you're recovering from a stroke or trying to prevent one, you're not powerless. You're participating. Yes. And the conversation with your body doesn't end when symptoms fade. It's only beginning. So if you've been told it's too late, remember this. Your brain is still listening, still learning, still waiting for the next signal of hope. Give it that signal today, and tomorrow when you wake up, thank your mind for another chance to rewire itself. That's how independence is rebuilt. One signal, one belief, one day at a time. And now I want to hear from you. Have you or someone you love experienced stroke warning signs? What did you do? Drop your story in the comments below. We read every single one. And if this video opened your eyes to the truth about stroke prevention and recovery, hit that like button. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. And subscribe because we're dropping more life-saving health tips every single week. Real science, real hope, real results. Until next time, remember, your brain is still listening. Give it something worth hearing. Thanks for watching.